Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Thursday morning Mind the Moments gathering brought to you by Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare. And this is a place where we invite experienced mindfulness instructors to speak with us about what mindfulness means to them and to discuss as a community how we can incorporate these practices into our daily lives. I'm Suzanne Rowe Palacino, and I am delighted to be here with Greg Topakian, one of Harvard Pilgrim's distinguished mindfulness teachers. Good morning, Greg.
Good morning, Suzanne. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. And nice to see everyone joining this morning. I wanted to let you know we're having a few just technical glitches. It seems our connection seems to be coming in and out. So I wanted to let folks know that if you notice that, maybe just give us a little comment if you're able to, if you notice it. But otherwise, hopefully it won't happen during our 30-minute time here. So we're so happy again to have you with us. Today, Greg will start us off with a question for the group to get us chatting. And then he will lead us in a guided practice and have some time to talk about his theme this morning. And we'll also afterwards have some time for questions. So if you can go to the bottom of the screen and just click on the chat and open that up. And if you have any initial questions, feel free to type those in. And you can also click on the drop-down menu that says panelists and attendees, and you can click on that to open it up and allow yourself to see all the comments coming in. So to get us started, Greg, what question do you have for us this morning?
Well, nice to be with all of you this morning. Nice to have this opportunity to practice mindfulness together. And wonderful to have this opportunity to explore how mindfulness can help us live our lives, because that's what we're in this for, to learn how mindfulness can help us live the lives we want to live. So I do have a question for you this morning. There is a research evidence suggesting that gratitude is associated, when we experience gratitude, that experience is associated with positive physical health benefits, positive mental health benefits, and simply outright joy. And so knowing that fact, having that evidence available for each one of us, well, how do we cultivate gratitude? How do we make it happen so the mind is inclined to go to gratitude rather than it just happening randomly, and we appreciate it when it's there? But how can we train the mind to more naturally and periodically turn to the gratitude station? So that's the question for today. What do you do, or what can be done, or what rumors have you heard about gratitude?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Just to start us off, and come into the chat and offer any suggestions or any practices that you've found or practices you're curious about. Type those into the chat as we get started. I would say for my circumstances, specifically during this last year, which has been difficult on and off, I've been using the morning to do gratitude practice because it really sets my day off on a positive note before I get out of bed. I will say to myself 3 things that I'm grateful for before I get out of bed. So I know someone mentioned they couldn't hear the question. Maybe we can say the question again, Greg.
Given that there's all this evidence about the benefits of experiencing gratitude, How can we nudge our minds in the direction of turning towards gratitude? How do we make it more likely that gratitude arises for each one of us instead of just waiting for it to show up randomly? What can we do? What can we put in our lives that make it happen more often?
And someone has added, bring up an image of my 8-year-old niece.
Beautiful.
And watch the birds
Journal.
playing to get back into the present. Journaling. Intentionally count my blessings one by one each morning and each evening, and write them in my journal. I agree that writing things down can be a real, I don't know, there's just the time it takes to write them down.
Writing things down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I try to think about what I'm
Writing
grateful
them down. Yeah.
Try to think about what I'm grateful for every spare moment I have walking in the neighborhood, enjoying the plants, the weather, the warmth, the birds. At work, when I run into great people on the job, trying to acknowledge people's contributions that I'm grateful for. That's great. Thanking people and treat it as a practice. I do gratitude each morning and at mealtime.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah, writing it, saying it out loud, these things can help. Because there is good news. The good news is that we can cultivate the habit of gratitude, right? This is what the science is telling us. We can retrain the mind. We can muscles to incline us to move in certain directions, mentally and emotionally. Now, the challenging news is that we simply can't flip a switch and say, okay, starting tomorrow, gratitude's going to show up every day for every hour for a few minutes. It doesn't work that way. We cannot simply will it to happen. But the better news is that we can create conditions that support the arising of gratitude, that make it more likely that it arises. And what are those conditions? Well, first off, we can understand the benefits of gratitude. We can declare an intention for ourselves to spend time practicing gratitude, actually declaring the intention, writing it down, or saying it out loud. That's going to be part of my practice. And then we actually have to then give some time to practice and then to reflect on what it felt like to experience gratitude and what the benefits were. So it's understanding the benefits, declaring an intention, actually executing on the intention, doing the practice. Someone just wrote, I think gratitude needs to go from thought to action. Absolutely. We need to actually do it. And that will incline the mind. Do a practice together. I'll invite you to come to a comfortable position for yourself. And as we begin with any formal practice, we check in with the body, feeling the sensations of the body in the present moment, and making whatever adjustments we might make to posture. Help support relaxation, to help support alertness. You might roll your shoulders forward and back. Let the head bob forward and back, left and right. Attending to the signals that your body is giving to you. And by so doing, bringing mind and body together in this present, settling in, closing your eyes if you're comfortable with that. And what we're going to do over the next few minutes is I'm going to suggest 3 dimensions of our lives. And as we consider those dimensions of our lives, each one of us will ask 2 questions of ourselves. Do I really feel gratitude? And what could I do? How would I live my life to really show gratitude, to really express gratitude even more deeply? So the first dimension is the connections that we have with people in our lives. Now, I'm not perfect, you're not perfect, our friends and family aren't perfect. We all know that. But I suspect as a few people in our lives that we know, even if they push our buttons sometimes, that we can go to when we're in a time of need, when we need help. And we have people who know they can turn to us as well. How special is that? How special is it to be a human being with connection to another human being, or another non-human being for that matter? We take time to feel gratitude for that capacity. How would we live our lives to really demonstrate how much we appreciate that connection? What would we do? Maybe we would listen better to them when they're speaking, even if we've heard it before. Maybe we would be more patient when sometimes they act in a way that we don't like. As I'm sure, maybe we would be more patient because the whole package is so compelling to us. Maybe we would actually say it out loud. Thank you. Thank you for being my friend, my partner, my father, my mother, my sister, my brother, whoever. What would I do? How would I live my life to really feel that gratitude? And even right in this moment, how does it feel in this mind and body to tap into that awareness, this experiment of touching gratitude? A second dimension in our lives is that we each have a physical body with 5 senses. And with those 5 senses, seeing, hearing, touching, with each of those 5 senses, we have the capacity to experience beauty in our lives. Not to say everything is beautiful. We know that's not true. There are some things which in our body minds do not assess as beautiful, but there are things that are. what happens when something comes to the senses that we see, and there's a feeling of awe. Do we appreciate that? We actually take a moment to say thank you. Yeah, I often see things that don't seem beautiful to me, but when I do I take them in? Do I let it rest, at least partly, full of beautiful sense perceptions? Seeing the tree, just looking at the green tree, the sky, natural beauty, human created beauty, beautiful sound, sound, music, natural sound, the birds, the wind, the rain on the roof. To have a moment of silence and just hear the pitter patter of a child or grandchild approaching you, that sound. Do I really appreciate it? How would I live my life? What could I do? Support these feelings of appreciation to come up more often. To smell. Plums, flowers, where we're visiting right now. Very subtle, and depending on the wind, I smell it or not. Special. Or taste. Wow. Meal on the table. Can we consume it with all the senses, seeing the colors, smelling? Maybe there's some sound if it's been fried recently. Taste. Satisfaction in the belly, internal touch. What can we do? What habits can we begin to practice to give us a little bit more space to notice these moments of beauty? Maybe before each meal, 1 or 2 conscious breaths, just to take it all in before reaching for the spoon and fork. In the third dimension, it's special, are the teachings of mindfulness and the opportunity to practice together with other human beings. I don't know about you, but I've been stumbling along for many years, and I am very, very thankful that somewhere along, stumbling along that path, taking the wrong fork sometimes, such these teachings, particularly that even though life can be difficult sometimes, that it is possible to work with the mind to learn how to engage with the challenges of life, to be more receptive to the beauties of life. That's a profound message. We don't just have to be victims or passive. We can work with the mind. We can help the mind learn how to settle down. That's our mindfulness practices. We can train the mind to see more clearly what's happening to us in the moment. We can train the mind to take mindful pause when provoked in one way or another, to allow us to have a better chance to actually choose how to respond to the moment. Actually live the life that we value, that we hope to live. We appreciate that we ran across this message, this book, this person who turned us on to that. And how would I live my life if I really did appreciate these teachings? And how much do I appreciate practice with other people? To know that there are other ordinary human beings like me, looking to learn how to be more graceful in this life, feeling their goodwill. I like to show my appreciation. So I thank you for your practice. And I really mean that. Thich Nhat Hanh, a well-known Vietnamese monk, has a saying that has always stuck with me. Life is full of challenges, difficult, but it is even more than that. There's the blue sky, the eyes of a baby, the sunrise and the sunset, the smile of a loved one. To just suffer, to just feel distress is not enough. There's more there. Train the mind, he goes on to say, to experience the joy, the wonder, the beauty. It would be a shame to miss it. And at the time that's right for you, I'll invite you to reopen your eyes and come back to the room.
That was great, Greg. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your practice.
Yeah, we're all in this together, aren't we?
We are, we're all human beings.
There's a couple comments that came in. Someone's saying a good perspective in looking at aging parents when our adult kids do and say things we are not fond of. This perspective adds more joy to our lives. Gratitude helps us to be more humble and appreciate that we are interdependent on one another. We don't have to do it all, and happy there are others there to help. Very, very true.
Yeah, there are a lot of other mental states really related to gratitude, like generosity as well. If we feel more filled up with what we have, are we more likely to be generous to others? So that's another mental state, which is associated with mindfulness and gratitude and kindness. And so if we're feeling gratitude, are we more likely to be generous with others? And then what does it feel like to be generous? To actually notice the effects on our mind and body when we act with generosity.
Yeah, these are all wonderful practices during, during a time where there's a lot of change going on in the world. I think these are very timely discussions, and timely guidance. So,
Yeah, it can be just small things, can't it, Suzanne? It's just noticing people, making eye contact, um, allowing a moment of goodwill to pass back and forth, even if, a person you don't know, the door, waiting in line, being patient, acting with patience, little things. And then what does it feel like inside when you act that way? That's ultimately what the practice is about, to notice which mental states and behaviors promote ease and grace, contentment in the body, and then registering that in the body and mind. And that's what makes the mind, oh yeah, this worked for me. And noticing which ones don't, because we're still human, we mess up sometimes, and not to get down on ourselves when we do, but to actually notice, you know what? Venting on this person, even though it felt right in the moment, it didn't feel good afterwards. All right. Not to self-judge, but just to say, you know what? That's a behavior that doesn't work for me in the long run.
mhm.
Those are the miracles of mindfulness.
And I feel like it's like everything else that, um, if we incline our minds to think this way, it's like, you know, um, we're bringing those things to, habit. They start to become habit. Those pathways in our brain start
Right,
to,
right,
incline
right.
towards, those positive states, because, as we all know, there's negativity in the world, and there's suffering. And I was even thinking about this related to
Mhm,
when you go through a hard time, or there's an illness, just like life hands us,
mhm,
we can turn
mhm,
that into gratitude. We're happy that we have the medical care that we have, or that we have insurance, or just,
mhm.
we can try to incline our minds even during those difficult times. So such an important, um, habit to get into. I
Yeah,
agree. So thank you, Greg. Thank you so much
yeah,
for
it is. It is.
thank
Oh,
you for
my
your
pleasure.
guidance.
Thank everyone for, and if you have another minute or two, I'll close with the practice. If you have to leave, fair enough. I respect that. Um,
That sounds great.
so just to close our eyes for a second, finding a comfortable position for ourselves, noticing sensations in the body, adjusting posture. For all of us ordinary human beings living in this world with tremendous uncertainty, not knowing what will happen next, perhaps feeling vulnerable at times or insecure. May we all be safe and protected. May all beings, all of us, feel the love and support of the people around us, the people who care for us. May all beings learn how to offer kindness to ourselves in our times of need, and to offer the same to the people around us in their times of need. may we all experience, and may we sincerely appreciate this moment of peace. Well, thank you for your practice. Nice to have this time together to explore how mindfulness can help us live our lives, and see you next time.
Sounds
Bye-bye.
great. With much gratitude to you, Greg, and to the group as well. See you soon, everyone.
Yes. Be well.